Let's ask ourselves this question today. Sometimes we know that a certain event is going to happen as a matter of, say, routine. For example, for the students, we know that the exams are going to come, say, in a stipulated period of time. And still we see the students, including ourselves when we were students, lamenting that situation again and again and again. Oh my God, I'm going to have my exams. Exams are so bad, All the same, we realize that we have to study and get over them. So what benefit is derived from lamenting for the unavoidable? Let's see what Krishna has to say to Arjun today. Let's first say our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's always so blissful to recite this magic Mahamantra because of the peace it gives you. I hope you've tried it. I hope you are enjoying this too. Today's shloka is shloka number 2.27, chapter 2, shloka number 27. Again, a very poetic verse. Well, the whole Gita is poetic. It is a song of God. But let's recite the shloka first. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janmamritasya cha tasmad apariharyarthe natvam shochitum arhasi. Natvam shochitum arhasi. You don't deserve to lament, Arjun. So this comes up one more time. Natvam shochitum arhasi. You don't deserve to lament about this, Arjun. Of course, the message is for Arjun and also for us. So what lamentation is Krishna talking about? Let's revise a little bit. In the previous verses, Krishna was telling Arjun that you are lamenting the death of your relatives. Whereas I just told you that they are not bodies, they are souls. So when you kill their bodies, you're actually going to relieve them from this sinful existence from which they anyways have to get liberated from. And who knows, they might get a much better body to live in, or who knows, they might even give up this material existence and be liberated to join God in the Vaikuntha planets, in the spiritual worlds. Who knows? And then Krishna changed his strategy a little bit in the previous verse that Arjun, even if you don't believe in the existence of soul, which means even if you believe in the atheistic philosophy that there is no soul and the body is just a bag of chemicals, which it is not, by the way, and we proved it in the last verse. So he says that even if you believe that, then also why are you lamenting the burning out of just a bag of chemicals? Well, even if you think there is no soul and this body is our only existence, and as soon as the body goes we are going to stop existing, that also doesn't merit the lamentation of it, because it's just a bag of chemicals. And who cries, Arjun? And you are Mahabahu, you are so strong. Who cries for a bag of chemicals? Now in this particular verse, Krishna is referring to the body per se when he's talking about Mrityu. So the translation by Srila Prabhupada, right on dot, reads, one who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So here Krishna is talking about the death of the body being inevitable. That means one who has taken birth is sure to die, and one who dies is sure to take birth again. So we are here talking about the birth and death of the body, not of the soul, because soul simply transmigrates from one body to another, and it is called Aja. In the previous verses, the soul has been referred to as Aja, which means who has no birth, no beginning, no end. But this body has a beginning, which we call birth, and an end, which we call death. In other words, Krishna is telling Arjun that your bodies, that is, are programmed to die. As soon as you take birth, you are programmed to die and to live again. So you are programmed to die and to live again. So here Krishna is again referring to the eternality of the soul. Now, Krishna has actually given both sides of the arguments already. And now in the next 2-3 verses up till 2.30, Krishna is going to clinch this fact of the existence of the soul and show Arjun the futility of crying over something which is not really valuable, whereas neglecting that which is of supreme value, that is the soul. Now Srila Prabhupada makes a very beautiful point that one has to take birth according to one's activities of life. So earlier also we saw in certain verses, Srila Prabhupada has explained to us in the purports that what kind of body we get in a certain birth, it is decided by what kind of activities or karma we are doing in this life, and also on the desires. In the 8th chapter, Krishna is going to elaborate more on this fact, saying what you die thinking of, you are going to attain that in your next life. And what we are going to die thinking of is what we have been attached to throughout this life. That is going to shape up our activities and our desires as well. So, Srila Prabhupada is telling us that finishing one set of activities, that means in this body, one has to die to take birth again in another body. And in this way, the cycle is just going on and on and on and on. And don't know how many births we have already taken. We don't have the memory of that. But yes, we have taken a lot many births. As the Shastras tell us, there are at least, actually there are precisely 8.4 million different species of life. So we have already passed through them, and we are on the topmost rung of the ladder, being in the human body. And even in the human body, we don't know how many births we have already taken till now. That's a humbling fact, to know that we have been going round and round and round in this material world like in a Ferris wheel. As Srila Prabhupada is going to point out in some of the later purports in the later chapters, that this world is like a Ferris wheel. You've seen that giant wheel. That's usually the center of attraction in the melas and everything. So there you're just going from, if you do good deeds, you're going to the upper planets, the higher heavenly planets to enjoy. Then you fall down again to earth. Then if you're doing bad deeds, you're going to the lower planets, the hellish planets, then coming back again to earth. And in this way, we are going round and round and round on this Ferris wheel for we don't know for how many births, for how many years this has been happening. So Srila Prabhupada is telling us the way we are caught up in this material world, even without our knowing it. Now you may ask, why? Why don't we have that knowledge? The answer is because we choose to ignore. It's our choice. This world has been created for our so-called enjoyment by Krishna because of our own choice. We are caught up in this cycle of birth and death because of our own choice. And to get out of it is also our own choice. And that's what Bhagavad Gita aims at, to give us an exit from this eternal cycle of birth and death. This is our chance at eternity. Now, Srila Prabhupada tells us that this cycle of birth and death does not, however, support unnecessary murder, slaughter and war. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that, okay, this body is going to die anyways, but that doesn't mean that you are going to endorse violence in an unnecessary manner, which means wherever there is necessary to kill because of the reason of dharma, which means that if you are doing violence to uphold dharma, then that violence is necessary, as he later points out, that to fight for the right cause. And what is the right cause? For upholding dharma. That is the duty of the Kshatriya. So here Krishna is pointing out at the duties that we must do in the bodies that we are. So whichever body we are in, according to that, we must do our duties unfailingly, because discharge of duties properly brings glory, whereas renouncing the duties brings infamy. Which means we are going to be remembered by how dutiful, say, a mother, a father, a guru, a wife, a husband, a son we have been. But if we give up our duties, you must have heard of somebody, there's somebody in every family we hear of who just renounced their, say, if it was the husband, they renounced their wife and children and go out to take sannyas, just like that, But that's a very premature kind of a sannyas. It's not really the real sannyas, because Krishna condemns that kind of renunciation, saying that this is only renunciation which is external. And one is actually just shirking from one's duties. So whatever duties have been assigned to you in a certain body, in a certain role, you must do them nicely. And that's what will bring you glory. That's what will bring you liberation finally. So Krishna is telling that, Arjun, don't be aggrieved at the death of your relatives, because you are only discharging your duties in upholding the dharma. As Krishna is guiding Arjun, I am telling you to do what is necessary for upholding dharma, and you're only killing to do that. So just because you are going to kill their bodies, I don't want to kill their bodies, you are just shirking from your duty, and that's not a very nice thing to do, because their bodies anyways are going to die, because jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur, which means if one is born, one is sure to die, programmed to die. And if one dies, one will take birth again. Well, in this material world only, if we are not liberated from this cycle of birth and death. So, Srila Prabhupada in the final line of the purport is giving us a verdict that by avoiding the discharge of his proper duty, he would not be able to stop the death of his relatives, and he would be degraded due to his selection of the wrong path of action. So, Srila Prabhupada is giving us the verdict that, see, anyways your relatives are going to die. But if you choose not to kill them, you will also be degraded, because you are going to choose the wrong path of action. The right path of action is to do your duty no matter what. So we talked on this theme in the first chapter also, that many times we are faced with a situation where our near and dear ones are the ones who are standing in front of us, and we must sometimes take an unpleasant decision for us, that is unpleasant, but which requires to be done in the name of duty. For instance, a judge may have to convict his own son in the courtroom. But if he goes back, just to think, okay, he's my son, I'm not going to give him the sentence. Let me just, make him free. Let me just, absolve him of all, say, crime. The That's not a very good thing to do. And that's what exactly Krishna is asking Arjun not to do. Because duty is supreme. We see a mother in whatever circumstances doing her duty for bringing up her children. We see a father doing his duty, earning for his family members, no matter what, providing for their needs. We see a guru in discharge of his duty as, giving out knowledge without any bias. And we talked about the example of Guru Drona, who gave the knowledge to all kinds of knowledge, in fact the Shastra Vidya as well as the Shastra Vidya, to Drishtadyumna, the son of Drupad, who had taken birth to kill Drona only. But even knowing that, Guru Drona did not withhold any information, any knowledge for him, knowing very well that using this knowledge, Drishtadyumna is going to kill me someday. That is what is the discharge of duty. Because the duties as such by the moral codes need to be followed as such without any alterations. So such beautiful injunctions we have been given by Krishna and explained so nicely by Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada says, even if discharging your duties sometimes becomes unpleasant for you, it doesn't mean that you're just going to give them up and go away. Sometimes the duty tells you, the sense of duty tells you to maintain, just like a mother and a father maintain their children. Sometimes your duty asks you to kill in the name of dharma, and then you must kill. So just to revise the points a little bit, we saw here that just as sure as death is, just as sure as birth is death, and just as sure as death is birth again. And that's for the body, not for the soul. And therefore, anyways, since the bodies are going to die, we must discharge our duties properly to uphold dharma in all cases, even if it sometimes becomes challenging for us. So, he who stands strong in the name of his duty, just like a soldier on the front, does not care about his own death in the protection of his country. That is the sentiment that Srila Prabhupada is trying to convey to us. That's all for today. Tomorrow we are going to take another very wonderful verse in which Srila Prabhupada in the purport gives us a little bit of hint of how this material world has been manifested, how this has been created. So we'll meet again. Till then, please chant Hare Krishna and be